So just go? Yeah.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is April 16th, and this is the Rainham Board of Selectmen's meeting. We have just returned from an executive session where we have made decision on...
Thank you, Madam Chair. We did take one vote in executive session, and that's relative to the upcoming vacancy of the town administrator's position, and the board voted unanimously 3-0 to appoint on an at-will basis Gordon Luciano to the position of acting town administrator to fill the vacancy until such time as the government study committee issues a report on any potential findings relative to the structure and composition of the position.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Did I miss anything, Ms. Riley?
No, you covered it.
Sorry.
Just under discussion, want to thank Mr. Luciano for being willing to fill in that position. Certainly, he has had every position in town, from Finance Committee to Board of Assessors to Selectmen to Sewer Commission to School Committee to... did I miss anything, Gordon?
I missed the cemetery commission.
So certainly you bring a wealth of knowledge.
Gordon, have you been the
and,
dog catcher yet?
I think he filled in for one weekend.
Did you,
Appreciate
just
you
about a
filling
week?
in for that.
I did chase a dog years ago through the neighborhood one night.
Okay, so we can say that you did take that position, also.
And Attorney Emerson will be drawing up the legal papers,
yes.
and with the stipulation that Mr. Luciano will not be applying for the position on a permanent basis.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous vote. Okay, would you all please rise as we pledge allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And I'm sure you heard Michael in the room stating we're ready to go, so you know you are being recorded live by Raycam. The acceptance of the minutes, please.
I will make a motion to accept the minutes as printed.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We have one appointment this evening, and that is for a Brad Palogran. Is he here by any chance? No. As a constable.
I make that motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
This has been cleared by the police department. Did you go through it? Okay. All right. We also have the health inspector's contract here.
Which we had been briefed on previously.
We have been briefed previously on the contract, and all is in order.
Yep.
I make a motion
Second.
to proceed.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Unanimous on the health contract. Put that there for signing. Okay, we have no public hearing this evening. New business. Request to the assessors for the transfer from the overlay reserve account to the surplus account, and we do have a letter
Yes. I have a letter,
requesting that,
And we are requesting $150,000.
$150,000.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, completion of old business, we've already done that, so we don't need to discuss that. Town administrator, could we have your report, please?
Yes, Madam Chair. The South School, the basement is still being renovated, and by RMC and should be done soon. There is some low level of asbestos present in the tiles, and that remediation is should be accomplished very soon. The invitation for bids for the Council on Aging siding project, we received them Friday. Only 2 bids were submitted, and there was a rather disparate distance between the 2 amounts, so it may have to go back out to bid. We can. I've been talking with Bob Iafredi about that and get his input on it, and he'll let me know how we should proceed in the next day or so. Just a reminder, annual town meeting is set for May 20th, with the special town meeting prior to that. The pre-town meeting will be Tuesday, May 14th at 7 p.m. The warrant's finished and are ready for a vote. Reminder, Historical Commission may need 1 more member, although I think there was something in the
Yes,
works.
there is something here from Karen Jackson.
Okay, good. Next Selectmen's meeting will be a week from tonight, April 23rd. The next Sursage meeting is tomorrow, 9:30 in Mansfield. The next Southeastern Mass Health Group meeting is tomorrow as well at 1 PM in Seekonk. And the next department heads meeting will be Thursday at 9:30 a.m.
Thank you. Any questions?
None, thank you.
All right, I
If
have,
I have one question, Mrs. Smith. Mr. Flaherty, did you have a chance to check with the Finance Committee? Because I think they do have an opening, and if so, we'd certainly want to promote that, maybe even 2 openings. I don't believe Mr. Joseph Bickle's position has been filled yet.
Okay, there's 5 members on it now. I think
there's
if
supposed to
they
be
need more,
7.
I'll certainly make sure that we have a talent bank forms at the clerk's office for anyone who wishes to apply.
Thank you.
okay. The letter that we have here, okay, I'm going kind of like out of order here. The letter that I have here is for $100,000 from the overlay reserve. Did you
Yeah,
send the corrected one
I
to
have
the?
the letter here, and I spoke with Dave Graff, the town accountant, and we just received all the updated requests for the special town meeting, and
Oh, okay.
he said he would feel much more comfortable
For
if we had
150.
150,000.
All right,
I checked with assessing, and they said that that would be feasible.
okay. We have a tag day from the Berkeley Athletic Association, and they don't, oh, yeah, okay, it's on the 25th and on May 3rd. That's the only one we have here.
Motion to approve?
Second.
All in favor? Aye. I have a letter here from Mrs. Friedman, Feldman, I'm sorry. Rainham was our number 1 choice when choosing a location to purchase our first home. We adore this town. Our newly purchased home, although on a main road, is in a great area. One thing, however, is bothersome for us. At night, it is pitch black with drivers zooming by, so dark that we can't see the mailbox from the front door. We are actually in disbelief that no one has requested some kind of lighting be placed already. TMLP has advised us to contact you in order to potentially have a light placed across the street on an existing pole. There are very few lights on Main Street, and it has been said that Rainham does not budge and doesn't like to add lights. I'm hoping that's just a false assumption and it is not the case. This one light being requested would make a profound difference in the safety of this main thoroughfare and the safety for its surrounding residents. Please feel free to contact me. Thank you for your consideration. What would you,
Motion to take it under advisement?
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We do have a letter from Karen Jackson, and she is requesting consideration for the place on the Rainham Historical Commission. I have long been interested in the history of our town and was instrumental in the very successful Rainham History Curriculum Studies in the elementary schools. We enjoyed essay writings, field trips to local sites, Toby Gilmore's grave, and the Taunton History Museum to see articles of interest to Rainham. We even did the same bus trip at night for the parents, ending with refreshments at the Stone Church. On the town's 275th birthday, third graders planted 275 daffodil bulbs in front of the Hannett House. The kids were so proud of their spring blooms. I have also continued my interest in Rainham history through membership and leadership in the Historical Society and their many speakers and activities. Some exciting plans are underway, which we are of very high caliber. My wish to continue to share the history of Rainham with others and to build our treasures.
I'd make a motion to refer that to the Historical Commission, but I would just say that Karen Jackson would be a wonderful addition to the commission.
She definitely would.
Be excellent.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
You can pass that out. Okay. On their regular meeting on Tuesday, April 2nd, Bristol Plymouth Regional Technical School District voted to approve the fiscal year 20 budget, which was very nice, and we thank them very much for that. Let's see. This is from the Environmental Protection. Oh, God. Condense this for me, David, if you will.
We're getting a grant.
We're getting a grant of $6,000. and it's to start working towards reducing contamination in the residential recycling stream. And the $6,000 is to use tools and resources contained in Mass DEP's Recycling IQ Kit. Funds can be used to print outreach materials, etc. Thank you for your commitment to improving residential recycling in Massachusetts. The department applauds your efforts and looks forward to working with you. This is that's a pretty nice thing. Our recycling area is superior. It's beautiful. They keep it pristine. And that is all that we have.
Madam Chair, just a couple things.
Yeah,
We skipped a few.
yeah, we did. We skipped the citizen and community input.
Yes, I believe the moderator wanted to address this, and also Selectmen's report.
I said I was skipping around, remember?
Okay.
I skipped,
All right.
okay?
Just make sure we're paying attention, Joe.
Yeah, you weren't paying attention. Citizen and community input. Does anyone have anything they wish to say?
Let me hear now.
Sure.
Sure, John. Floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair, to the board. Here tonight to talk about two things. First and foremost is the naming of the appointment of the Fire Chief Advisory Committee. As everybody's aware, town meeting in 2003 established a advisory committee appointed by the moderator for hiring within the town at the department head level. So this committee will be comprised of the following people. It was David Flaherty, but I guess now it's Gordon Luciano as the interim or acting town administrator. Superintendent of Schools Derek Swenson. Dr. Sheila Reardon, who is a local resident who has a background in education and administration. Tom Levy, Bridgewater Fire Department Fire Chief. Also, these are all Rainham residents, obviously. Dick Shavo, Dan Andrade, David LaPlante from Rainham Police, but he applied as a member at large, and myself. So there's one obvious omission there, and he's in the room, and I thought I would address that. For a couple of reasons, and Chief Janice and I, outgoing Chief Janice, spoke about this afternoon, and I think we're both on the same page, but I won't speak for him. I wanted to make sure that as we go through this process and as the panel interviews the three internal candidates who all work for the chief, that when the inevitable question comes, which it will come, because if somebody else doesn't ask it, I will, there are things in the department that you obviously would want to change, want to improve upon, or there might be weaknesses within the department, or things that you think need to be fixed. What are those? If they're sitting across from Chief Janice, that's going to be a very difficult question to answer. So for that reason, primarily, I did not appoint the chief. However, he and I spoke at length about this afternoon. The very first meeting that this panel will have will be a lengthy interview with Chief Janice, and he will be asked a multitude of questions and given every opportunity to explain exactly what it is that makes a good chief. He'll explain the duties and responsibilities of the chief's position. I would assume he will give us a candid interpretation or his opinion of the three candidates, so that from there and that point forward, as the panel makes their way through the three candidates, we have a background of everything that the chief needs us to know. So very much looking forward to hearing from the chief and for him to set up the committee for success. I would also hope that as we give you a recommendation at some point, that the chief would obviously be involved in your deliberations. I certainly, the intention here is not to shut out the chief or keep him at arm's length from the process, but simply to keep an unbiased and independent view as the panel questions his three direct reports. So very happy that the chief and I could agree on that this afternoon. I expect all of these meetings to take place next week. I've set aside 1 hour blocks for each of the three candidates, an hour minimum with Chief Janice. We have a couple people traveling this week on the committee because of school vacation week. Otherwise, we'd get going this week. However, I've already got availability from two of the candidates, and we look really good. And about half of the committee has responded to me with their availability, so I'm fairly confident that we can get this thing wrapped up by the end of next week. And I'll be reporting to you in 2 weeks from tonight on the recommendation of the committee.
Excellent.
Any questions on that?
I don't think so, John. I think you covered it all.
No, as
Any
always,
questions?
Mr. Moderator, phenomenal job, and appreciate you putting this together in short order.
Thank you. Secondly, as we now have, I'll just roll over to the Government Study Committee.
Mr. Moderator,
Pick up the mic, please.
Oh, did I knock that down? Sorry, Mike. With regard to the Government Study Committee, in particular with the change in the town administrator position, I'm looking for a little bit of direction from the three of you with regards to, I'm assuming you want me to expedite any discussions regarding the position, town administrator position. And from my viewpoint, and I don't want to speak for the committee, but, well, let me back up. We haven't spoken about the town administrator position at all to date. So I want to make sure that I take a direction from you three with regards to what you want us to talk about. We've talked in generalities about government structure and, to the point of, the town charter. So the town charter is, strong board of selectmen, town administrator, used to be secretary, town administrator, and town meeting, right? So I'm not sure if the committee is going to delve into should town meeting continue on. I have a biased opinion on that, so I'll probably remain quiet on that one, but it would be helpful to get a little bit of direction, and I don't need it from you here now, but over the next week or so, if you could reach out to me independently, individually, with regards to, on a go-forward basis, do you have thoughts about what you want the committee to study with regards to the town administrator position? So obviously there's I think the next progression in government structure would be a strong town manager. I'm not sure that how you feel about that. I won't ask you here on camera, but that's something that I guess would be discussed. Beyond that, things are going well at the Government Study Committee. We're making progress.
Good.
If I could also just say thank you for the search committee. You've put together an excellent committee, even a former fire chief, which is, excellent. Some people now involved in government, so put together a great committee, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I think I would just be interested, you've got a great government study committee, listening to their concerns. I think maybe one step short of a town manager would be a town administrator with a little bit more authority. That might be something, but certainly, I'd be open to anything except don't take away the town meeting. Because obviously I think you feel the same way, but that town meeting where our residents can go and actually speak their mind and change the course of events is just
Right.
so New England, and so what we hope to be all about. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, no, I would just add that I think my recommendation would be that you do expedite the discussion around town administrator, given what's transpired over the past few weeks, and, Gordon come in, we've already said how appreciative we are of that, but I think the town benefits from stability, and we need stability, and I think the only way this board's gonna come to an agreement on something is based upon what government study reports out, and so I think the sooner that can be turned over, I would at least personally appreciate that.
Okay, I think we can have something to you probably by end of May with regards to, we've been trying not to pick single issues and kick them to the board. We've been trying to kind of wrap it all up in a package for later in the year. But I fully understand that this one is timely. You don't want to wait till October for a recommendation on the town administrator's position, but Mr. Luciano will by definition have a seat on the Government Study Committee, replacing Mr. Flaherty. Thank you for your help with this, and good luck, by the way. I'll say that. I don't know if I would like to hear from him if he has any comments with regards to the Government Study Committee.
I'm sure you will.
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Well, I don't know if he wants to do it here tonight. I'll put him on the spot, but those are the two things I came to talk about tonight, and if no further questions, I'm done.
Thank you
Mr.
very
Moderator.
much, John. Okay. Now, the selectmen's
Oh.
report.
Thank you, Madam
Do you
Chair.
have anything you wish to say?
I do. I have one thing. It's Mr. Flaherty's last meeting with us, and I just wanted to personally extend my appreciation to him for his service as health agent and acting town administrator for, I think, the past 6 or 7 years. It's been a privilege to work with you, Dave, and I wish you many successes in your future endeavors, and you have my personal appreciation for the contributions you made to the town.
Thanks, Joe. And I appreciate the selectmen's support and everything that we've done together in the past 6 years. Thank you.
And that's all I have, Madam Chair.
Thank you
And
very
I
much.
would also like to thank you, Dave, but I feel incumbent on making a bit of a statement, because I'd like to take the opportunity to set the record straight, because I think the people of Rainham deserve to know the truth and not the manipulation of half-truths and misleading statements that appeared in the front page article in the Enterprise, the Taunton Daily Gazette, and the Rainham Call. Fact, if you bear with me, fact number one, at the Board of Selectmen's meeting on June 26, 2018, I made a motion to advertise the position of town administrator. As I clearly stated at that time, it was not any reflection on Mr. Flaherty, who had been appointed as acting town administrator when Randy Buckner retired 1 year earlier after serving over 30 years as town administrator. I stated unequivocally at that time, and the recording of the meeting will verify, that it was no reflection on Mr. Flaherty, but rather that I felt it was incumbent upon this board to advertise such an important position as it should have been advertised when Mr. Buckner retired. I also stated that Mr. Flaherty and anyone else who was interested certainly could and should apply for the position. One would think that after serving 1 year as acting town administrator, Mr. Flaherty would be the leading candidate for that position. Why he would fear that process, I don't know. I think I even made mention at the time that in order to ensure that we had the best person to succeed Dr. Forbes when she retired as superintendent, the school committee conducted a search process, and yet the assistant superintendent, Derek Swenson, was ultimately selected as the best choice for that position. After discussion, however, at that June meeting, Mr. Pacheco made a counter-proposal that Mr. Flaherty be extended a second 1-year contract as acting town administrator, and I, along with Mrs. Smith, supported that motion for a unanimous vote. There was no, and I repeat, no vote of no confidence. A vote of no confidence is an actual vote, and that never took place. Fact 2, in the fall of 2018, I proposed and this board unanimously voted to appoint a government study committee whose charge would be, and I quote, to consider the present and future needs of the town, both with respect to space and personnel. I proposed and this board supported, including Mr. Flaherty, the acting town administrator, as one member of that committee. Fact number 3, in January of this year, the Government Study Committee began its meetings, and all members were emailed the full unedited copy of the results of the town survey to consider as part of their deliberations. In addition to the results compiled by Survey Hero, all of the comments offered by those residents who participated were included. Comments that included, among others, such statements as the town should have a 5-member Board of Selectmen, the Board of Selectmen and the Board of Health should be separated, the town should consider a town manager form of government, the town should have a full-time town planner, the town needs an HR person. I suggested it really wasn't unreasonable to believe that the Government Study Committee should at some point in their deliberations consider such comments, whether or not they ever wanted to recommend anything of the sort. Fact number 4, the next date of interest is February 15th, 2019, the deadline for applications to be submitted for the position of Assistant Town Administrator for the town of Harwich. Fact number 5, on March 25th, Monday, the finalists for the Harwich position were interviewed, one of whom was Mr. David Flaherty. Fact number 6, on Tuesday, March 26th, the very next day, after speaking with Mr. Flaherty in private, I made the motion not to renew his contract, but to ask him to continue to serve in the position of town administrator, which actually would be the first time he would serve as town administrator rather than acting town administrator, and to continue in that position while the Government Study Committee's deliberations were continuing. The reason I gave was that the Government Study Committee might well consider any or all of those comments suggested by the town survey, and if they decided to recommend any changes, that could impact the executive branch of our town government and or the town administrator's position. Of course, the Government Study Committee is only an advisory committee, and any recommendation would have to go to town meeting for decision. After discussion, Mr. Pacheco made a counter-proposal to offer Mr. Flaherty a 6-month contract while the Government Study Committee's deliberations were ongoing. And again, Mrs. Smith and I supported that motion for a unanimous vote. Again, no vote of no confidence was taken. Fact number 7, on Monday, April 1st, the Harwich Town Administrator offered David Flaherty the position of Assistant Town Administrator. Fact number 8. On Tuesday, April 2nd, the very next day, Mr. Flaherty read his letter of resignation stating that after 2 votes of no confidence, he had decided to submit his resignation and give 2 weeks' notice, with no mention of the fact that he had been offered the Harwich position. Instead, he chose to cast a shadow of doubt over our town and over this board, over 2/3 of this board, because he was sure to thank Mr. Pacheco for his loyal support. I might add that when I met with Mr. Flaherty personally the week before I made the prior motion, I stated to him at that time that serving for those 6 months into the next fiscal year while the Government Study Committee's deliberations were continuing would give him an opportunity to really step up, and I wanted to work with him so that he could become better at his job and I could become better at mine. To me, that sounds like an offer to work together, which it was, and not like someone who, as some have applied, was out to get him. Fact number 9. On Wednesday, April 3rd, the very next day, Mr. Flaherty was interviewed by the Enterprise reporter and again repeated his claim that those 2 votes of no confidence, which, as I pointed out, never took place, had caused him to resign and that he was actively seeking employment. This on the same day that he signed the contract with Harwich. He also stated, and I quote, "It's a shame. I love this town. I'd stay working here in a minute." This again on the same day he signed the contract with Harwich. I submit that the entire article is misleading to say the least because there never was a vote of no confidence, and it's clear that Mr. Flaherty was resigning and giving 2 weeks' notice to accept the position in his hometown of Harwich, a position he had applied for either in January or early February. Dave, I'm really happy for you. Your hometown, how great is that to serve? And you won't have the long commute, and I'm sure that'll be great for you. I just wish you had handled it differently. Thank you. I have nothing else, Mrs. Smith.
No, that's fine.
Would you please, I'd like a motion on the warrant that had not been voted on yet.
Motion to approve the warrant?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No press here this evening. Matt, did you have anything you wanted to bring up tonight?
Just 2 really quick things if you don't mind.
Sure, please.
First, just an announcement, Bristol County Mosquito Control had stopped in the end of last week just to notify us that they would be doing their annual anti-larval spraying, just so the public's aware. This will be a low-flying aircraft over 3 wetland areas in town, Huckamuck Swamp, Dead Swamp, and Pine Swamp. Needs to be done over 3 days, weather permitting. May all be 3 in a row, 2 in a row, 3 single days. This week the weather's looking pretty good. Today it was too windy, but just in case you see a low-flying aircraft, the anti-larval that they do spray is non-hazardous to humans and domestic animals. Just targets the mosquito larvae. So it'll be at some point between today and early May. So it'll be Monday through Friday during the day. So Bristol County Mosquito Control works in conjunction with Plymouth Mosquito Control because Plymouth owns the aircraft. So.
Well, I'm very glad they are doing this spraying because I didn't think they were going to.
Madam Chair, you just stole the words out of my mouth. I'm kind of...
Catch 'em.
I know. I'm kind of elated because you and I, as you know, Madam Chair, spent 8 years
Fighting with them.
with the previous administration, and I'm personally grateful Governor Baker and his team took a fresh look at this and
Absolutely.
are being responsive to the needs of the local communities.
I think just a lot we've had a huge amount of rain over the last 12 to 18 months.
Right.
Huge amount of rain, a lot of standing water, and I know we didn't have really much EEE last year, but the West Nile virus it was definitely extremely high. So I think just a preemptive strike, as you will. So.
Thank you for keeping us updated on that, Matt.
Yep, so that's one. And I have our new health inspector.
We certainly
Deborah
would like
Taylor.
to have her come up and say
So,
hello, at least.
Yeah, absolutely. That's been really good. We've been out doing food inspections last week, and today she went and retook the ServSafe food handler.
You got to get
You can't
closer to the
hear,
mic.
Gotta get close to the mic.
Been able to gotten her out to do some food inspections in town, get her comfortable with the town, and get her all settled in town hall here. So
Good.
it's been a good week, and just wanted you to.
Would you like to speak at all and say,
Just thank you for this opportunity. Appreciate
Is
it.
that all?
Okay.
Well, tell us who you are and what you were gonna do for us.
So my name is Deborah Taylor. I'm going to be one of your assistant health inspectors. I have 27 years in the food service industry. Recently graduated from Bridgewater State University, 2018.
Good. Any questions?
Thank you, no, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and we welcome you and wish you much
Best of
success.
luck.
Thank you very much.
And if you need anything, Matt, you got it,
Thank you.
right?
Sure, absolutely.
Thank you very
Thanks.
much.
Thank you, board, I appreciate the time.
Do we have any emergency business? None?
I got some good news.
Well, go right ahead, sir. I'll let you
Going
talk.
on the schedule.
That's all right, Jim.
Today, the deputy chief and I and my administrative assistant Sally sat down and, as you know, as I give you every month, above and beyond on the sick time in the line of duty, which was up to around 220,000, I believe. We were able to shave it down, so it looks like I'm gonna need about, stealing from everywhere, probably about 130. So
Okay,
I thought that was
got that down.
almost $100, 100,000 less than,
That's good.
90,000 less than what
Good.
it is right now.
Good work, Jim. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much,
All
sir.
right?
That's good news.
Yeah, that's what I said.
There's no other emergency business. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, to sign the bills and the warrants, no business conducted afterward.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you all very much for coming. Appreciate it.